Welcome to Express Change, a podcast about art and activism.
Hello, everyone. Here's another break from our regular half-hour episodes with another outtake from a previous interview. When we interviewed Rou Reynolds for episode 7, he spoke some very candid truths about how to cope with the realities of both activism and the state of our world. We couldn't really fit that into the flow of the full episode, so here it comes as a short bonus track. Also, this gives me the chance to let our regular listeners know 2 things. 1, we're incredibly grateful that you keep coming back and keep tuning in. Thank you so much for your support. And 2, due to workload and travel, our last 2 regular half-hour episodes for the season will require a bit more time. The next one will probably pop up in your player towards the end of June. I'm traveling because in 2 weeks I'll show my documentary feature film, Purpose, about economic systems change at its premiere in Reykjavik, Iceland, at the Wellbeing Economy Forum. If you want to know more about the film, do have a look at the website purpose.film. But now on to our bonus material with Rou Reynolds, lead singer and lyricist of the band Enter Shikari. When you actually consider the state of affairs, when you do look the beast in the eye and say, this is where we are, how do you cope? Because you're clearly aware, and I would like some help because it's hard. It's hard to live. And I mean, Marina knows this too, of course. I mean, if you're in this space, then that's what you live with. But still, Rou, if you have any thoughts on how to keep life, bearable. And I have good days and bad days, but still, if you have any tricks of the trade that you could share, I'd be more than grateful.
When you want someone to consider the whole way that we've structured our globe is perhaps the cause of a lot of our problems, that is incredibly stressful. When you actually understand that, or try to understand that, what we see happen, like psychologically, is system justification. On one side of our brain, as I use this poetically, we'll be thinking, I understand that this system may not be very good for me, for other people, for the planet, but then you're going to kind of cling on to it because you're afraid of change. You're afraid of the stress of having to truly contemplate just how mighty of a task we're up against. So I really do think about that. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's cowardice. It's just like it's a stress aversion response, which I think is completely understandable. There's not many people who go to these extents and to look at the core problems, because it is just not a particularly healthy thing to do for your own health. I think it's all mental gymnastics. It really is, like on one hand, I can understand the position that we're in. And on the other hand, I ignore it. There's some subconscious mechanism that enables me to just put that to the back of my mind. And even when I'm having these conversations and interviews that get this in depth, I can speak about them, but it's almost like I'm emotionally not reacting to them. I had a few years of quite intense activism in my late 20s. I was on every march in London. I was being kettled by the police left, right and centre and all this stuff. And, it was a super interesting time, met loads of people. It was fun, occasionally scary. But I basically worked myself into just exhaustion. And I realised that I couldn't live my life like that. I'm actually, people often find this hard to believe, being a frontman in a punk rock band, but I'm quite a reserved, calm, introverted person. I don't like conflict. I don't like doing a lot of the activism that is available to us. And so basically I realized I just have to concentrate on balance. I have to concentrate on my own health. And that all came to a head in 2015 or something. I had this terrible year and insomnia and anxiety and panic attacks. And I think that was my body's way of effectively telling me is you can't live your life like this. You can't be so emotionally connected every day to what you're doing. And it was almost like a slap in the face. I had to reach that point where my body was putting me through panic attacks to let me know that, no, you can't do this. And so for me, it really was about creating balance in my life.
Yeah, balance. I can totally see that the sort of the strength of the demand, the absolute sort of all-encompassing concern that this creates, that people will just reject that they'll just not accept it, and so say anyone who wants to change the system is crazy. It's just so that they can protect themselves, I guess, right?
I also think there's another side of it is just a lack of imagination. People think, oh, is this person a Marxist then? Oh, so you want communism, do you? Because that's all they know. As human beings, we like to put things in boxes. We like to have structured concepts. Oh, okay, this goes in there. We like things organized logically. When someone's saying, no, we need to discuss something new, again, it's scary and it's hard to imagine. It always makes me laugh as well, because we know how stressed we are today, and we know how stressed the system makes us. And what that is actually like a defensive response. It's a systemic defensive response or something. I'm not sure what the phrase would be. Stress, out of all the areas in the brain, it affects the hippocampus the most. And the hippocampus is our kind of center for imagination. If we're chronically stressed, our hippocampus can shrink by about 20%. So it's almost like if the system knows, as if it's like this being, and it sounds a bit conspiratorial, but like it's real. The system actually protects itself. If the more stress it places upon us, the less we're able to be imaginative beings who are able and willing to imagine changes. And that is kind of evil in a way, or it's so dark. But I think it's worth like contemplating these things, because we see just how unhelpful stress is, and just how it can make us shy away from even wanting to discuss, anything larger than a local initiative to make recycling better.
Thank you for listening. Express Change is supported by the Wellbeing Economy Alliance, the leading collaboration of organizations, alliances, movements, and individuals working to transform the economic system. Find out more at weall.org.
Express Change is produced and edited by Martin Oetting in collaboration with Marina Gattas and the team at the Wellbeing Economy Alliance. You can find out more about my work at martinoetting.com. That's Martin, OETTING.com.